Okay, based on your sources, let's unpack this.
Hmm.
Have you ever, found yourself in just a moment of perfect, serene calm, only for reality to come crashing in with a jarring beep?
Hmm.
Imagine Captain Picard, right? He's out riding this big, bay gelding Rollo through the stunning French Alps. He's soaking it all in.
Right, the Clara's range.
Exactly. The rush of the Aigues Blanche River, Picture Versier's jagged crest line, even the red tile roofs of Marlborough Village down below.
You can almost picture it.
Totally. He
Yeah.
dodges these dive-bombing alpine choughs, spots a majestic imperial eagle. He's really marveling at this world, and then bam, it hits him.
Ah, the
The
reveal.
cold, dry air, that vanilla orchid scent, the clink of the tech, it's all just an elaborate holodeck simulation.
And what's so fascinating there is Picard's own reflection on it, isn't it? That very human moment where he thinks about reality itself. He
Yeah.
realized that this amazing tech, the holodeck, it didn't really simplify things. It actually created many more questions, as he put it,
Right.
about what really matters.
If it feels just as real,
Exactly. How do you define what's authentic then? And, well, as we're going to see, unfiltered reality was about to intrude in a pretty profound way.
and in truth it did, because our deep dive today, it really focuses on this critical Starfleet mission.
Yeah.
You've got a task force, the Enterprise, the USS Marignano, and the USS Aride.
Mm-hmm.
They're all converging near this dramatic supernova remnant Kepler star, which is amazing in itself, right? Seen back in
It's
1604.
a huge historical event. Kepler himself saw it, only the fourth in 1,000 years and the only one in our own galaxy. Really remarkable.
But their real mission, as you dig into it, it's way more chilling than just looking at stars. They're investigating this phenomenon of vacated planets.
Yeah, so that's the central enigma we start with. These worlds, they were once teeming with sentient life, advanced civilizations, and now they're just empty,
Gone.
simply gone. It's a mystery that, as your source puts it, actually haunted Picard's dreams. I mean, how does an entire civilization just vanish?
It sounds like that classic sci-fi trope, the planetary Marie Celeste.
It does.
But what's interesting to me is how we, as humans,
Mhm.
often jump to the most mysterious explanation first.
Hmm.
Do you think that impulse, does it help or hinder discovery?
Well, it can do both, can it? Sometimes it points us towards deeper truths we wouldn't have otherwise considered. Other times, maybe just towards the most dramatic story.
Right.
And you see that tendency even in the investigation of the Disarui. This was a sort of pocket empire, active traders around 1865 Serpents. A couple of thousand years ago, poof, gone.
So suspicious.
Initial rumors pointed that way, but the archaeological surveys done by the Mariano actually found a natural cause. Tragic, but natural. Their homeworld was in this area of weird stellar drift,
Okay.
and it got wiped out by a moon-sized meteor. Just catastrophic bad luck.
Wow.
And the Disarui, it turns out, had this thing called a geobond, like an empathic or telepathic link to their home planet.
So when the planet died.
They basically withered away. It took about a century after the planet's destruction, but the entire civilization just faded out.
So devastating, absolutely. But not supernatural. A natural cause for that specific mystery.
Exactly. But it really highlights how our minds work, doesn't it? We look for those deeper, stranger answers. And for Starfleet, the bigger picture, this whole Marie Celeste thing, was still very much an open and frankly terrifying puzzle.
Okay, so the immediate reason for this task force being there, it wasn't initially about the vanished planets directly.
Not at first, no. It was actually something more, well, mundane, you might say, but getting dangerous. Piracy. A sharp uptick in attacks on archaeological digs in that whole region. There was even a tragic death mentioned, Seo Eurystalian at 1616 Ophiuchi 6, a known researcher, so Starfleet needed to step in.
And how did the plan to tackle that? Just standard patrols?
Actually, no. They used these really unusual negative satisfaction patrol courses designed by Data, no less.
Negative satisfaction? What does that even mean?
Well, Data used incredibly complex stats, think lottery theory, stochastic modeling. The goal was to find loci of untoward occurrence.
Okay, you lost me again, loci of.
Basically looking for trouble where you'd least expect it. Actively seeking out the anomalies, the places where things were going wrong.
Gotcha. Looking for trouble.
Precisely. And this ties into Data's ideas about ethical failures in math, where perfectly logical calculations lead to undesirable physical results in the real world. Chaos from order, almost.
I bet Riker loved that jargon.
Your source mentions his bemused reaction, yeah. Asking what the devil is a locus of untoward occurrence. But Picard got it. grimly recognizing if you go looking for trouble, you'll find it.
It's fascinating, though, applying that level of math theory to, catching pirates.
It is high-stakes application.
And did they find trouble?
Oh, they certainly did. Their first key encounter came from tracing battle debris, particle decay, and it led them straight to the Lalaurie.
The Lalaurie, they're a known trading species, right? Pretty widespread.
That's them. Their commander, Elik, had this interesting view on death, saw it more like regeneration, and they were fierce fighters.
How fierce?
Well, let me walk you through this tactical reconstruction. It's pretty amazing. They get jumped by 15 pirate ships, standard pincer move, and englobement trying to surround them.
Okay, sounds bad. 15 on. How many Lalaurie ships?
The number isn't specified, but fewer. But watch this. The Lalaurie instantly, precisely take out 5 of the attackers, punching a hole in the pincer.
Wow, quick reaction.
Then they do something nuts. They use tractor beams to literally weld their own ships together into one big structure.
Seriously?
To execute a precisely angled low-warp burst, they blast through the gap they created, escape the initial trap, then spread out to basically englobe the englobers, turn the tables completely.
Oh, way.
Yes, way. They ended up destroying 14 of the 15 pirate ships. Just one light cruiser managed to limp away damaged.
That is incredibly impressive tactics. Audacious.
Definitely. So, okay, impressive battle. But now there's this next puzzle piece. That one damaged pirate ship that got away.
Right, the one survivor.
Starfleet boards it. And they find only one crew member alive. An Alfekin. But he's alive, but completely unresponsive. Out cold, deep unconsciousness.
Like a coma.
Sort of, but weirder. His eyes were open, but there was no sign of consciousness. And the really strange part, Dr. Crusher checks him out. No physical trauma to the brain at all.
Huh. That is uncanny.
Yeah.
What could even do that?
Exactly the question. What leaves the body functional but just switches off the mind? And it baffled Crusher.
Okay, so that's one weird data point. What happens next?
It gets even stranger. They encounter another ship. This one's the Boreal colony ship. Privately owned, heading to a place called 1440 Ophiuchi B5.
Colonists, okay.
And the initial contact is odd. The team leader is an adherent of this faith called Donna, their belief. Sentient life is basically a horrible error, a pollution of the universe.
Wow. It's leak.
Yeah. So they actively seek isolation. They live super plainly, create nothing because creation itself is seen as blasphemy.
So they probably didn't want Starfleet bothering them.
Not at all. Which brings up a really tricky ethical point, doesn't it? How do Starfleet's principles, like the Prime Directive or just basic protection, apply when a group actively rejects contact based on such a, profoundly different worldview?
That's a tough one for Picard and the crew. You can't just force help on people who see your very existence as an error.
Right. But the situation escalates because eventually Starfleet has reason to board the Boreal, and what they find is horrifying.
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
All 428 colonists, every single one, found in the exact same state as that Alphakin pirate.
The same catatonia. Eyes open, nobody home.
Precisely. Dr. Crusher examines them. Her conclusion is chilling. Their brains are physically mature, undamaged hardware, but as she puts it, they're not working.
Like the software is gone.
That's exactly how she described it. Almost as if something left the hardware of their brains largely undamaged but erased the software. Their intelligence, their minds. She said it was much worse than murder.
I can see why she'd say that.
Yeah.
Just erased. Okay, this is getting seriously disturbing. How do they connect the dots?
The big breakthrough comes from data. He's analyzing the Boreal's destination, that planet 1440 Ophiuchi B5.
The place the colonists were heading.
Right. And he finds something weird. 2 previous survey probes sent there reported completely contradictory data.
How so?
One probe reported a habitable M0 planet, looked perfect for colonization. The other probe, sent later, reported empty space where the planet should be.
Wait, what?
And data confirms with current long-range scans, no planet there now. The inescapable conclusion, as he puts it. Someone is moving this planet around.
A moving planet. Okay,
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
It is. And that discovery immediately clicks with Picard. It triggers this deep dive, as your source calls it, into history, folklore, legends.
Looking for precedents. Stories of moving planets.
Exactly. And he finds them. There's this 100-year-old story of an alien traveler who dies after landing on a moving planet. Someone compared it to old Earth myths, sailors thinking a whale's back was an island.
Right, the old Kraken tales or something.
Sort of like that. But then he finds a Romulan ancestral story. And this one is particularly haunting and much more detailed.
Okay, lay it on me. The Romulan legend.
So their ancestors, way back when they were leaving Vulcan, they encounter this uncharted planet. Looks perfect, idyllic.
Uh-oh, sounds familiar.
Yep. Two Vanguard ships go down to settle, but then they're purposefully crashed, destroyed by some unknown force on the planet.
Oh, wow.
And a later ship arrives, finds the wreckage. But the crew on that ship, who had psi talents, telepathic abilities, they sensed something terrifying. A horrible blankness and a great hunger recently assuaged.
Chilling. And then the planet.
It vanished, just gone. And Data's later analysis, especially after he has his own direct encounter with this thing, confirms the truth behind all these legends.
So what is it, this moving planet?
It's an Intellivore, a mind eater.
Intellivore, okay.
And it's not some new species that just popped up. It's ancient, from another galaxy entirely.
What did it get here?
Facing its own extinction, its own galaxy dying out, this species took an extreme path. Over 1,000 years, they built this planet ship, its purpose, to devour the minds, the life force, the intelligence of other beings to sustain itself.
Oh, it didn't.
It consumed everything in its home galaxy. Then it came here to the Milky Way, seeing it as, a younger, richer hunting ground.
And it keeps memories, like trophies.
That's the truly grotesque part. It keeps the memory of that pain, as a gourmet will keep labels from wine bottles. It savors the consciousness it consumes.
That's beyond monstrous. And this thing was just passively drifting around, picking off ships like the Boreal.
Mostly, yes.
Yeah.
But the analysis showed something even more alarming. It was starting to change its strategy.
How so?
It was preparing to shift from passive predation, hitting targets of opportunity, to actively attacking heavily populated planets within maybe a decade.
Actively hunting worlds.
Right.
That's an existential threat.
Absolutely. A scenario that could have led to just unimaginable chaos and destruction if they hadn't figured it out when they did.
Okay, so you identified the monster. It's a planet-sized mind eater. How? How in the universe do you fight something like that?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. And the answer comes from Dr. Crusher with this brilliant, maybe slightly startling insight she called her crab theory.
Crab theory. What did crabs have to do with it?
Remember the pirate ship? They found some simple life forms aboard, including crabs, that were completely unaffected by whatever hit the Alphakin.
Ah, okay. They weren't wiped clean.
Exactly. So Crusher theorized maybe life forms with minimal associational networks, the complex pathways in the brain where memory, experience, emotion, higher thought reside, maybe they are immune.
So simpler minds are safe.
That was the theory. If you don't have the complex software the Intellivore feeds on, it can't touch you.
Did they test this?
They got confirmation in a really unexpected kind of grim way. There was a human crewman from the Arady.
The other ship in the task force.
Right. He'd suffered a concussion before any encounter with the Intellivore. He was already unconscious.
Huh.
When the Arady was later attacked and the rest of the crew affected, this guy woke up later, completely unharmed. His mind was intact because he was already offline when the Intellivore tried to feed.
Wow. That proves it horribly, but it proves it.
It did, and it gave them the core idea for an incredibly audacious, incredibly risky plan.
Let me guess. They have to make themselves undetectable, like the crabs.
Precisely. The plan was this. On the attacking ship, which would be the Enterprise, all biological crew members would be rendered profoundly unconscious.
Everyone. Picard, Riker, Crusher herself.
Everyone. Using precision drugs administered by Dr. Crusher just before the attack run, total blackout, making them effectively invisible to the Intellivore's senses.
So who flies the ship? Who fires the weapons?
Data. As a synthetic life form, his positronic brain doesn't work like a biological one. He'd be immune. He'd be wired directly into the ship's systems, piloting and fighting essentially alone.
Just Data, flying a ghost ship full of unconscious people against a mind-eating planet. That is...
It's desperate stuff. And the other ships had crucial roles, too. The Marignano, under Captain Maisel, would act as bait.
Bait? How?
Use its shields to generate intense visual radiation, like a mini-nova. The idea was to blind the Intellivore's optical sensors, force it to rely on kinetic weapons, physical attacks, which would give away its position.
Clever. Force its hand.
Right. Then the Enterprise, piloted by Data, would swoop in and deliver the payload. An antimatter bomb, a sphere of metallic antideuterium, specially crafted by Geordi LaForge for maximum punch.
An antimatter bomb delivered by an android piloting a ship full of unconscious heroes while another ship acts as blinding bait. This is insane.
It's unbelievably high stakes. And you have to think about the personal weight on everyone involved.
Absolutely. Captain Maisel and the Marignano volunteering for that bait role. Fierce determination there.
And Captain Clif on the raid. Your source notes his initial reaction, a sort of empathy for this parasite, maybe because he's a Trill, with his own history of symbiosis, albeit benevolent, a different perspective.
That's fascinating. But ultimately, duty calls.
Ultimately, yes. Picard's commitment, despite the horror of it all, this wasn't just fighting an enemy. It felt like a battle for the very definition of sentience, of what they valued as life.
A heavy burden. Did the plan go smoothly? Something tells me it didn't.
Tragically, no. There was a devastating prelude to the main attack. The Urati, Captain Cliff's ship.
Yeah.
They charged ahead. There was some confusion. They mistakenly thought the Enterprise was already under attack and went in to help.
Oh, no.
And the entire crew, including Captain Cliff, they fell victim. The Intellivore got them, left in that same catatonic state.
God, all of them.
All of them. Picard was apparently devastated. Losing a friend he felt he was only just starting to really get to know. Your source mentions him mourning Cliff later in the holodeck.
That's heartbreaking. What a cost before the main fight even began.
The terrible blow. But they had to proceed.
So the final battle. Marignano draws it out.
Yes, Maisel plays the bait perfectly. The Marignano generates that blinding light. The Intellivore accelerates, changes course, starts firing kinetic weapons.
Revealing itself.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Data is piloting the Enterprise in, and he actually experiences the Intellivore trying to probe him, trying to consume his parallel minds, as he calls them.
It tried to eat Data.
It tried. He had to make this split-second decision to basically shut down parts of his own consciousness, to resist it, to block it out.
Incredible. What about the Marignano?
They took hits. Even their crew felt that mental tickle, as they called it, the edge of the Intellivore's influence. But they held on, bravely destroying the Intellivore's weapon emplacements, creating an opening.
Opening the door for Data.
Right. Data, clinging on with a tractor beam, like by his fingernails, the source implies manages to deploy Geordi's antimatter bomb straight into the Intellivore's exposed mantle, just as the thing tries to jump to warp to escape.
Talk about down to the wire. And the bomb.
Detonated. The result was catastrophic. A quasar-like explosion. The Intellivore was obliterated, gone.
Victory.
Victory, but a costly one. The explosion left this massive, long-lasting radiation blind spot in space. A scar.
And the crews. Data brought the Enterprise crew back.
He did. But the physical trauma of the battle, complications from the knockout drugs, there were 147 casualties across the task force who didn't survive.
Oh, man. Even in victory.
Even in victory. And then you have the hundreds of Boreal colonists and the entire crew of the Arady still lost. In that irreversible catatonic state, they'd be discharged to specialized care facilities, basically for life.
So they won, but they couldn't save everyone.
No. And the Arady itself, the ship, it would be decommissioned. Too much associated with the tragedy. It would eventually be recommissioned, but under a completely new name. Her old name retired, like a fallen warrior.
A somber end for that ship and her crew. What about the bigger picture? Was that the only Intellivore?
That's what Data's final synthesis tried to address. He confirmed the scope of the threat they stopped. This thing was about to start actively hunting major worlds. Stopping it might have required the same kind of concentration of forces that were required at Wolf through 59, a massive fleet action.
So they prevented something truly galactic in scale.
They did, and Captain Maisel on the Marignano, her mission continued, seeking out other potential grazer planets, just to be sure there weren't any more of these things lurking out there.
Checking for echoes. And Picard, how did he process it all?
The source closes with him back in the holodeck, alone, performing a silent gun drill like an old naval tradition, a solitary memorial for Cliff, firing shots at the moon, landward, seaward.
A ritual of remembrance.
Yeah, and an optional fifth shot, the text says, for a protection against the kind of darkness that waits when men's hearts stood open. Acknowledging the victory, yes, but deeply feeling that profound, undeniable price.
Wow. What a story. So reflecting on this deep dive into your sources, what does it all really tell us?
Well, for me, it really highlights how interconnected the physical and the mental are, doesn't it? And how sometimes the key to facing these, unimaginable threats lies in unexpected places, like understanding ancient legends or applying crab theory.
Right. It's not just about phasers and torpedoes. It's about perception. Understanding the nature of the enemy, even when that enemy defies everything you thought you knew about life.
And it really forces you to think about those boundaries, doesn't it? Reality, illusion, life, consciousness, what defines us? And when you face something that targets the very core of your being, your mind, What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice?
It shows the kind of unexpected truths you can discover about yourselves, about humanity, or sentience in general, those extreme moments.
Exactly.
It's a stark reminder, too. The universe is incredible, full of wonders, but also horrors, things that are just completely outside our normal understanding. And sometimes, like here, the biggest victories come with the highest price tags. You survive, you celebrate, but you also have to mourn what was lost. It leaves you thinking, what part of our own minds, our own experiences will we fight hardest to protect if faced with something that wanted to just erase us?
That's a profound thought to end on. What is truly essential?